And we're live.
What up, Leaguers? Welcome to the Spectacular Spoiler League. I'm the Pandan Superman, the mayor of Hype City, HazyRome, and as always, I'm joined by the Gotham Knight, the Prime Minister of Post-Production, DeepBoyce. And today we're in the Hall of Spoilers for another edition of the Arrowverse Weekly One Shot. I believe it's week 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
And we're talking about the Arrowverse. I'm in California right now, so
What?
for the late live stream for those of you who catch the live stream, for those of you catching the videos, I'm in a different room.
Hazy's going back to Cali.
You know, I'm out here trying to enjoy PlayStation experience. You know, but that aside, man, we had some Arrowverse episodes to go through, and we got some top 5 power rankings to do. We got some top 3 bum asses to talk about, and we got our ones gotta go for the week. DeepBoyce.
Yes.
Get to those power rankings, baby.
Let's do it.
Do it.
So
top 5, baby. Number 5, DeepBoyce.
Number 5.
Yes.
For me, your boy, DeepBoyce, week 9. I'm actually choosing Rain from Supergirl.
Okay.
And it's mainly because they definitely made her look like a threat in this episode. She went in there.
How you figure?
Because she beat the living crap out of Supergirl. Obviously, if we're talking about the entirety of the episode, I forget Rain's, forgive me, but Rain's civilian name is
Sam.
Sam, right?
Yeah.
The character's not bad, but it's just like the plot or the narrative plot, you know, the narrative thread for that character is really not that interesting. It doesn't really ingratiate you towards the character. But when she came in as Rain, and you know, the costume could be better, you know, the whole face masking that they got going and her emblem.
I agree.
It's kind of wiggity, but she went in Batman style, took out those criminals in the docks, right? And then Supergirl was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. Whoever this is in my home turf disrespecting me, leaving up tags everywhere, left and right. She left her.
She was tagging up the place, man. She was representing her hood, man. She was representing her set. She was tagging up everywhere, man.
No, and then I mean,
She
really,
was a certified G.
Really, now that I'm breaking it down, that was on some hood. That was some hood level stuff right there.
That was some hood stuff, man.
She was leaving.
She was tagging up. She was like, Rain, Rain. She's like, oh, she's like, oh, that's your new grocery store, Rain. You pull the shutters down, Rain. She wasn't playing games, man.
She was not. and then obviously Supergirl called her out, and Rain stepped up, and smacked her across National City. Left Supergirl bleeding out in the street.
Yeah.
Embarrassed her in front of her people. They had to take Supergirl to the ICU.
Supergirl got wrecked, man.
She got owned. I don't think she's ever gotten her ass whipped like that before on this show.
Yeah, she needed to get the ass whipping though, because Rain needed to get some love, man.
Yeah, and honestly, I want to see more of that. Maybe it's difficult with the budget, but that's what you want to see in a Superman/Supergirl show. Like any type of super show, where there's super characters, Kryptonian characters. You want to see just those beatdowns, man. Like that universe, I think it's Earth 36, 38?
38.
Earth 38 is nice and pristine. Yeah. It's nice and clean and organized. It's ripe for some super otherworldly, you know, just godlike characters to destroy buildings and everything. That's what you want out of a Superman property.
There's too many aliens on that Earth, in that universe to not have some absolute destruction, absolute wreckage going down.
Yeah.
Like, I keep it a buck.
But
I ain't gonna say nothing about Rain though.
But
I ain't gonna say nothing about Rain. At least not yet.
I'm gonna knock just a slight point off with that ending. That end scene was so dumb, it made me laugh. I don't know if you remember where when
she turns around, where her daughter's like, "Come on, it's Christmas," and she just turns around. And they cut it.
Yeah, was it me or did they cut it right before she like turns around?
Yeah, they did. I have no idea why they did that. I couldn't tell you why. I don't know why they made that decision.
Yeah.
Maybe it was something spurred a moment. Maybe they're like, I don't know. Maybe they're like, oh, maybe she kills the kid, but she obviously is not gonna kill the kid.
Yeah.
That show is way too lighthearted for them to do something like that. So it doesn't. I mean, to me, I'm just kind of like, Yeah, they should have just left it with Supergirl like in coma status, basically. Just left it like that, man. But on to my number 5, DeepBoyce. It's actually from Supergirl. Okay, my number 5 in the power rankings this week is Jimmy Olsen's Shield. Not Jimmy Olsen. Don't get it twisted. This is HazyRome you talking to, baby. Not Jimmy Olsen. Just the Shield, okay? Because he did some dumb stuff, man. Some bum ass was Morgan Edge randomly hired some hitman to chase down Lena By the way, I sold to Lena Luthor from like the first episode of this season. I called that. And Jimmy Olsen does this thing where he whips out the shield, super randomly, and it was hot.
Yeah,
it was hot.
It was. Although I did have a problem. I mean, it's hard to say anything positive about Supergirl without nitpicking. Yeah, I just found it a little weird that Lena got up and did she notice what he did?
Nah, because he pushed, like they tripped, and I think he said keep your head down. So she was like, she had her head tucked on the ground basically, and she missed it. So, but it was hot the way he reflected the gunshot or the laser beam or whatever you want to call it. So the shield was hot, but not Jimmy Olsen. I like the way it just retracted out of nowhere, like came out of nowhere, retracted out of nowhere. I was like, that's kind of hot, man.
True.
That's kind of hot, man. I wish the Guardian of Mantle went to somebody else.
Like
Diggle, perhaps.
Yeah, Diggle.
Diggle, perhaps, man. But on to number 4, DeepBoyce. Who you got?
Number 4. I'm actually giving it to the young Martin Stein from 1992 Central City. I think the way they ended that episode with Stein just, basically having like a heart-to-heart with Jax. I don't know if this was intentional, but did they just make it seem as if Stein read the letter, which obviously kind of retcons Stein's background. So Stein this entire time knew how he was going to die, or that he was going to die?
I don't think he read the letter. I think he burned it as soon as he got it. I think when he went back to his house, he thought about it and ended up burning it. Because he said he didn't want to know, because the knowledge the idea of him knowing about his potential future death ended up ruining the timeline. And young Stein knew that. That being said, he still did know the date.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he knew the date.
November 2017. So
he knew the date, and he knew he was gonna die. But
right, exactly.
Regardless, the parting words that he left them with, I thought were kind of touching, and actually were rather well done. And it was a very noble thing, and it was just. It's not often that these shows really impart you with words that you can kind of take with you to kind of really think about. But just the fact that, just sometimes you got to let things go as much as they may hurt you, so that in order for you to move on and go on with your life and experience all the things that you have ahead of you, you can't let, certain things kind of trip you up and not allow you to, take advantage of everything that's in front of you, that's in the future. And just this idea that you have to make the most of it. I mean, he knew he was going to die. He knew the date, and obviously he wouldn't want to die at that date. He would want to live as long as he needed to, but he didn't let it take him down either. He just kind of made the most of his life from there on in.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't really hate on that choice. Honestly, I think it was a good goodbye for the Stein character. A good way to have closure, given the show is like a time travel show. Like normally I would have been like, you know what, let Victor Garber kind of close this out. But I like the way that they use time travel and, the recurring theme of Legends, which is to, not do, things that are personal that could affect the timeline. You'll not change the timeline for yourself. Yeah. And I just like that theme. It just played into sort of what the Legends is supposed to be about. You know what I mean? So that was good, man. That's a good one, man. I ain't going to say nothing about that whole situation. I got to wait. But my number 4, DeepBoyce, is original Team Arrow, man. I'm talking about Diggle, Felicity, and Oliver Queen. Because you know why? They did the right thing to spy on the other 3 members. They spied on Dinah this week. They spied on Mr. Terrific, and they spied on Wild Dog. And I feel like it was the right thing to do, man. Because at the end of the day, they're new, and they've been betrayed by a newbie before, Evelyn Sharp. So knowing that things, things were potentially going awry for Team Arrow, you gotta put the spotlight on the people you don't trust. Was it an invasion of their privacy? Absolutely. But I felt it needed to be done. And the other team members, they rightfully got mad. But I still feel like it needed to be done.
That's very interesting.
Case closed.
That's very interesting. Because I'll be honest with you, I kind of disagree with that. I mean, I do think they definitely held it down. But I respect, I guess, the reasoning behind it. Because at the end of the day,
I mean, they were right. 203 people were snakes.
True.
203 people. So, I mean, and now we see that Vigilante is working in sort of like a super villain team with Caden James, Black Siren, Richard Dragon, and who else is on that? I mean, that may be it.
No, there was some other guy.
Anatoly. It was Anatoly.
Yeah, there was another guy there.
The other dude, I think, is Caden James' henchman, so he doesn't count. Okay. He's just like,
but
he's like a first mate on the ship.
Okay,
he's not a captain.
He was standing there like he was a boss or something.
Yeah, he was standing there trying to get his Avengers moment. I was like, bro, get the rest of those guys some coffee, man. Get out of here.
Because the whole time,
get them a drink, get them some beverages.
Because they were there, we're about to beat them down. Like, yes, Star City is ours, and he's over here just like nodding. Was like, yeah. I was like, who is this guy?
I don't know what that was about, man. But for me, I'm like, yo, like, the ends don't necessarily justify the means. I completely understand that. But to be honest with you, like, you know, you could say, oh yeah, like, oh, it was because we didn't trust you. But you could also say, like, hey, we keep surveillance on you because we're trying to look out. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit is crazy right now, and we need to look out for you guys. Case closed.
I mean,
now they might not like it, and it was without their consent, but they were both, like, 2 of the 3 people were hiding stuff.
Well, this is
the bottom line.
This is kind of what
didn't deserve that. I would say that.
This is kind of what that made me think of. That something's got to give at some point, because Oliver Queen is mayor and he's a vigilante and he's not above spying on people. Sure. I mean, yeah, they're part of his team, but they're civilians. They got rights. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point there's a conflict there between him being a public official and also being a vigilante.
Listen, if they're going to confront that, they also need to confront something about the Flash, which is him holding people without due process. They've mentioned it on the show, but they've never confronted that in a serious light. The Flash and Team Flash are holding people in their pipeline without due process. That is illegal, highly illegal. That is like some like crazy, like freedom encroaching stuff right there. I don't care how dangerous those people are.
Well, it's either that or it's Iron Heights, and Iron Heights is.
I mean, but listen, you can't.
But no,
you can't justify that just because those people are bad. That's my whole point is original Team Arrow, they did what had to be done. OTA did what had to be done. Like the Flash, he does what has to be done, but you know, to me, that's a more egregious violation because they've got a number of criminals hanging on the pipeline. Who knows how many people they have there?
But here's
like, I would love to know the actual count of people that they're not just keeping there. They're buying food for them because actually. Like made a joke about that. I think in like a deleted scene or maybe even in the show. But they actually make a joke about having to buy buy them food to like give so that they don't die in the pipeline, man. That's crazy.
But here's the thing. Going back to original Team Arrow, all 3 of them are hiding things from the team as well, or have hid things from the team. Felicity,
right, which is why they know. Which is why they know to watch everyone else. They learned from the fact that they've hid stuff.
But they are currently hiding things.
Diggle already fessed up to his stuff. What is Felicity hiding?
There's still something going on with Helix that they haven't like unraveled yet.
I don't think Felicity's hiding anything about that though. She came clean about Caden James and what he was planning. I don't think she's hiding anything. Last I checked. The whole point is they've dealt with the whole mistrust thing, and they were like, "Yo, like this is serious times. We got an FBI agent on our ass. We got to do what's best for us." Yeah. You may not like it, but we gotta ensure there's security within the team.
I
and once again, 2 out of 3, man. They made the right call.
Yeah.
2 out of 3.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like they touched upon it on the episode. You gotta be fully in and you gotta be fully out. Like everybody, almost everybody on the team has 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and that's a problem.
I agree.
And that's probably what the villains are gonna use against them.
You're right. You're right, man. Who's your number 3, DeepBoyce?
Number 3 is probably the most reliable entry in my power rankings from week to week, and that's Sarah Lance from The Legends of Tomorrow. Holding it down. Solid, great leader. I mean, honestly, I may have to take her off.
I'm just shaking my head because
I'm gonna have to take her off at some point because I always say the same reasons. But honestly, she's the best character on the show. She's one of the best characters in the Arrowverse.
She's the only character worth a damn on that show. I said it, okay. I said it, bro. And I said I'm sorry.
Again, she plays the seriousness, but even like that scene where they were kind of thinking through the strategies on how to take out bum ass Damian Odin. Dark, whatever that was kind of funny to me. How they kept kind of replaying that scene and
that was cool.
That was kind of well done. Well, her part was well done.
That was well done. I mean, Sarah's the only one who, on a consistent basis, was portrayed as a badass. Mm-hmm. Like Vixen, like I still can't get over her running up on Gorilla Grodd solo. Like you're gonna run up on like, really? Like that? This guy's telepathic, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Listen, man, like I see Jaden Ganson saying I keep cutting off DeepBoyce, not DeepBoyce. Listen, man, it's not that I'm cutting you off. Mm-hmm. It's just that when I hear some blasphemy, I gotta say something in regards to that blasphemy. Yeah, I'm sorry, I have conviction.
He's not cutting me off. This is how we always talk. If you've ever seen a previous podcast,
indeed, but
because I cut him off
Sarah
too,
Lance
just like right there. But I don't do it as often.
Right?
But this is.
I mean, listen, man. Sarah's the only character who consistently gets to be portrayed as a badass, consistently, and not a bumbling buffoon like a lot of the other characters get portrayed as. Like I forgot Ray Palmer, the Atom, was actually useful until I watched the crossover and I was like, yo, he's actually kind of dope. I forgot that he could be dope.
True. You didn't think he was useful in this? He was Bobo. We'll talk about that later.
Bebo, first of all.
Bebo.
Okay. The Vikings gonna come after if you don't get the name right. Bebo. Okay. My number 3 is also from Legend of Tomorrow, and that's Jax. And you know why Jax is my number 3?
Because he got
not because no. Not because Jax did anything cool this episode. Not because he had a strong character arc. It's because the writers didn't give a damn to give Jax a worthy send-off. So I'm going to give him a send-off on this show. I'm going to put him on the power rankings because I damn well please, okay?
No doubt.
Jax got one of the worst send-offs I've ever seen for a show. That episode was all over the place. And, like, you couldn't even let him be, like, the hero in the end. He had, like, a mid-side arc in that. Just wrote him off. Mm-hmm. I was like, what a waste. What a waste. I'm like, Jax got the short end of the stick. Anyone who disagrees is crazy. and the last thing I want to say is we did a One's Gotta Go, okay, where we talked about a member of Team Legends getting eliminated and who should it be. And we actually said it should be Firestorm. And I'm betting the reason why they decided to get rid of Firestorm is because it had to do with budgetary constraints. Because the amount of times you actually saw Firestorm on screen, they couldn't even give him like one literally like legit blaze of glory before he bounced. Yeah. My man just walked off. Just wasn't the hero who saved the day. Just casual walking away. And I'm like, you know what? He didn't get a worthy send off, so I'm gonna give him a worthy send off. Number 3 on my power ranking list. You're not getting any higher than that, Jax, because you didn't really do anything noteworthy in this episode. I'm sorry. He wasn't. I mean, they even left him off the mission. He was chilling with Zari. I'm like, come on, man. Can't even let him get one final mission.
They were playing Mortal Kombat 2, though. That's not a bad way to spend with a wonderful lady.
That's a wonderful way for him to spend his time now he's not on the show. Right? To play Mortal Kombat 2 all day. I'm like, why are you gonna not give him like a worthy send off?
Well, maybe Franz Germain is gonna join his boy John Boyega in Star Wars or some actual movies that people watch.
Bro, well, all jokes aside, man. Mm-hmm. Like, this is one of the founding members of the Legends. Mm-hmm. He didn't get his comeuppance. Captain Cole had his 180 where he just showed his heroic moment, showed his heroic side and died.
And he seems to be
even
back.
The Hawks got. I mean, that's a different Captain Cole. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how long. I think it's temporary. Mm-hmm. That's Citizen Cole. Yeah. And then the Hawks even got their comeuppance, getting Vandal Savage, to bite the dust. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, Jax is one of the founding members, and his send off was sort of a footnote. Like, it was an emotional episode, and it was good for his character arc. I just don't feel like it was a good way to say, all right, we're done with this character.
No, I totally agree.
I don't know. Like, it's hard because some people might say, well, you know, he came to the conclusion that he needed to, you know, do something on his own. Yeah, sure. But I just felt like he wasn't the focus of the episode. And I think that was where it hurt. You know what I mean? And I just wish there was more of like a round table where he got to interact with all the other legends, leading him to make this decision. You know what I mean? Yeah. As opposed to him sort of just hanging with Zari, talking with Sarah, and that was really it. You know, so number 3 on my list, man. And I'm number 3 on my list just because the people that wrote Legends of Tomorrow didn't give a damn about Jax, man. I do. Okay. DeepBoyce, number 2 on the power rankings, man. Hit him with.
Number 2, I don't know what to name this group or the syndicate, but they're anti-Team Arrow.
Okay.
Anti-Team Arrow. We're talking about Caden James. We're talking about Black Siren. We're talking about Richard Dragon.
Yeah.
Who else am I missing on here?
Anatoly.
Vigilante. There you go. Thank you, Hazy.
Yeah.
But basically, their plans.
I got you.
Appreciate that. Appreciate you. Anti-Team Arrow. Their plans are coming to fruition.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they got Team Arrow on the edge. And I'm hoping, and I'm theorizing, that when we come back from this break, Arrow is going to go just full throttle. Like, they're about to make their big move. And it's about to be vicious. At least I'm hoping.
Speaking of which, side note, I want to tell you guys with the and I'll say it at the end of this live show, but with the Arrow show going on break, we're also going to be going on break until the Arrow shows return. In terms of the live stream, so the Arrowverse live streams, the weekly one-shots for the Arrowverse, we won't come back until the week of January 15th, but we're going to be doing other video content, and we might even be doing, you know, some cooler, some more different, unique things just because the Arrowverse isn't on and we get to, you know, be our innovative selves. So we won't see any live streams because there's no Arrowverse episodes to talk about. But anyway, DeepBoyce, sorry.
Yes.
Continue.
No. Important information. But yeah, I mean, honestly, you know, this episode is a little bit more centered around Caden James and Black Siren in terms of the bad guys. But they've all been used to great effect. I mean, Anatoly, we've got history there already with that character. Black Siren, I mean, hell, it's the best work they've had Katie Cassidy do, like, since she's been on the show.
Yeah, agree. They totally revamped the Laurel Lance character with Black Siren. You know, they gave her an edge, which is what she didn't have in you know, the previous Arrow seasons.
Yeah, and speaking of giving somebody an edge, I mean, Vigilante. I'm interested in seeing how that goes. Like, I'm interested in all of this, in how they pair these bad guys versus the good guys, and it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope.
Like Jason Sotelo in the chat said, Adrian Chase was 5 steps ahead, but anti-Team Arrow is like 20 steps ahead, and that does feel that way. I will say, Richard Dragon sort of felt like he was sort of just added on to that whole thing.
Yeah,
I'm not like I wasn't really feeling his addition. He's supposed. They made it seem like he was going to be like a central big bad this season, but I don't know. He hasn't really come forward in the limelight, and I'm willing to bet that Caden James might be the actual, like, real, you know, certified badass of this group, if you will, the leader, the head honcho. You know what I mean? But we'll see.
Yeah.
But my number 2 this week is actually earlier in your power rankings, and that's Rain. Now, don't like the costume, y'all. Don't like it. Don't like the Sam storyline, or at least the way that they've tried to make us care about this character. I mean, like, the whole thing where Coward's like, oh, like, you're my best friend. Like, her, Sam, and I'm forgetting her name, Lena Luthor. Like, oh, we're best buddies. I'm like, first of all, y'all just met Sam. Like, real talk. Y'all haven't been hanging out with Sam for that long. Secondly, Carol, you over here saying, oh, I never had best friend. And I know she was talking about girl best friends. But I'm like, yo, Wynn don't get no love? Wynn wasn't your best friend, though? You just forgot that Wynn was her best friend?
They took one of the best characters and put him in the backseat.
They're like, yo, oh, you know, I've always had Alex, but I never had any best friends. I was like, where's Wynn when you need him? Because I'm like, Wynn is out here getting stunted on, man. So, you know, that aside, Rain, really, she's only number 2 because she gave Supergirl an epic beatdown. And that was, like, there was some questionable CG here and there. But to be honest, that was one of the best fights that Supergirl has ever managed to put together. And, you know, I feel that Rain is sort of going, and Giovanni in the comment section sort of alluded to this. I said this before, if you remember in earlier weekly one shots. I feared that with having Reign have a sort of a human alter ego, Sam, I feared the Smallville season 8 Davis Bloom Doomsday conundrum would be, with Doomsday and Davis Bloom in Smallville, like Davis Bloom he was compelling at the beginning, but then he just went off the deep end, and it was just like, there's no emotional turmoil. There's no emotional turmoil for this character in the way that there should be. He really just went from a normal guy who had a bad thing, who's having a bad thing happen to him, and he just went crazy. And now Sam, the 180 where she's just like suddenly Reign, and she's sort of hopping back and forth between those identities. It's not resonating with me. I don't feel it doesn't feel compelling to me. Like yeah, she has a daughter, and I think that's kind of a step in the right direction to humanize her, and maybe we'll see how it plays out. It's just that like Reign came out of nowhere and beat Supergirl's ass, but I'm not really invested in Reign. I'm not invested in this prophecy of the world killer. I don't care, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But she gave Supergirl that beatdown was pretty damn good. I can't front. Like she wrecked her, and that was a good fight. You know what I'm saying? That was a good fight.
Agreed.
That was a good fight. But on to number 1, DeepBoyce. Numero uno, top of the power ranks this week. DeepBoyce, you got
number 1 on my power rankings list. I mean, this guy is gonna round out what I call the week of the villains.
He's my number 1 too, because I know who you're gonna say. Go ahead, say it.
It's DeVoe from The Flash.
DeVoe. Exactly. That's my number 1 too.
He played King Flash. He played him. He got him. He fulfilled that wormhole sequence that we saw seasons ago. Barry's going to jail.
We saw that season 1. We saw in season 1 where Barry was, essentially, we saw like when Barry's running through the Speed Force to go save his mother, we saw flashes of different things. One of those things was of the Flash Museum, which is something from the comics, where Central City builds a museum. Yeah, one of the other things that we saw was Barry Allen essentially, like, arrested, on trial essentially, for something, for a crime. And we finally got payoff for that. Also, earlier in the season, my man, Barry Allen was rambling, and he said something along the lines of, I have the quote here. He said, "Your Honor, I'm innocent. I didn't do this. I didn't kill anyone." He said that when he was rambling when he came out of the Speed Force. And, we've been waiting for those lines to sort of come up again. One of the things was "This house is bitching," and we keep hearing that line sort of be referenced.
They gotta stop.
They
got it. I get it.
We also
they gotta stop.
Right. And then we also hear, the "Your Honor, you're innocent" line. Another one we hear is, "Oh, we're gonna need more diapers," which is referring to, Barry and Iris's twins, aka Dawn and Don Allen, who I believe we saw Dawn in the crossover. It could have been Dawn or his granddaughter, but I'm thinking it's Dawn Allen based on that line.
I need to. Can somebody hit me up with their number?
I mean, listen, man. If you want to travel through the Speed Force and go holler at a future version of this girl, I'm not gonna hate on you, man. Do what you got to do.
Shoot my shot.
Make sure you invite me to the wedding. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
But the Thinker, DeVoe, doing it up, man. G and everybody. Had everybody wrapped around his finger, man. I mean, yeah.
I was surprised that he made his move the way that he did in this episode. I didn't really see this coming. Because the way it started, I was like, okay, well, this is just like a Christmas episode. It's going to be almost filler. But nah, DeVoe was like, it's time. He pressed the doomsday button. He's like, it's time.
He pressed the doomsday button. I like that.
Looked over at his wife. He's like, my dear, it is time. Whoop that ass.
I mean, listen, man. Neil Sandilands did an excellent job as a Thinker. The one thing that I'm a little bit annoyed by is the new actor that's seemingly going to be playing the Thinker. I don't know the actor's name, but the new guy that got to play him, he doesn't have the menacing. He doesn't have that menacing sort of. What's the word I'm looking for? Sort of like that savant way of speaking that Neil Sandilands has when he plays the Thinker. But yeah, I was just kind of like, damn, like I'm gonna miss him if he's not playing the Thinker. Because I don't feel that actor brings it the same way. But, I mean, I wrote down a couple notes for the Thinker and just some things that he did throughout the episode that were baller. I normally don't do this for characters, but I was just like, man. Like, when Harry was talking to him, he's like, "Oh, you're not as smart as you think." And he cut him off and he was like, "Yes, I am." And I was just like, This guy's a beast. Then I was just thinking of the idea of Barry being convicted for murder, right? So one of the things I wrote down, right, is that the irony of him being in this situation is that this is similar to his father. Like, his father got framed for murder, also by stabbing, because Reverse Flash stabbed Barry's mother. So this guy, the Thinker, has framed Barry in the same way that his father was framed. And I don't think that's an accident, because the Thinker is just a gangster like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's the whole notion of, like, he planned this from the beginning to have Barry be obsessed with Clifford DaVoe and then just sort of play him like, all right, well, now you killed me. And I'm going to make you pay for that. And now you're out of my way. What his master plan is, I don't know, but this is phase 1 of the Thinker's plan, and I like it. I like it. Well, I think the murder trial is probably going to last a couple episodes. Please don't let it be 1 episode, y'all. In the comics, it's like 20-something. It's like a crazy amount of issues, that whole thing. That whole lead up to that, is. And in the comics, it's Reverse Flash, who was killed by Barry Allen, and he's on trial for the murder of the Reverse Flash. But, still dope stuff.
Yeah.
Still dope stuff.
So I'm assuming, Wally's going to come back because they need a speedster on the show, teaming up with your boy Ralph Dibny.
Good point.
Barry's in jail. I mean, like you said, those are all great points. DaVoe even went toe-to-toe with the Flash. I mean, he went in his little floating chair to fight him and fly him around Central City. The flotation device happened to save Barry's ass from drowning.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat, CB2198 mentions if we've seen Get Out. I guess he's trying to draw parallels between DaVoe switching bodies with this, young black guy. And I mean, his wife was with it. His wife was like, "Oh, this is something different."
Yo, you peeped that, right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, how are they gonna play the physical contact with that? She was just looking at him. She was like,
I mean,
she was ready to get up in it. She was like,
I mean, look, let's be honest. It doesn't seem like DaVoe has been able to get the job done for a while. I mean, he can't. He physically couldn't. So his wife is like, finally.
You're wrong for that, bro. That's not his fault.
It's not.
That's not his fault, DeepBoyce.
But that's probably part of his master plan. His mind is still there.
Listen, man, he was the Thinker. He had some next-gen Dildonics that he invented and whatnot.
No, he saved that. He saved that for Barry, as you saw in this episode. Smacking him up.
Anyway, man, the Thinker at number 1 for both of us this week. Let's move over to the bum asses. Top 3 bum asses of the week, DeepBoyce. The worst of the worst, the wackest of the wackest this week. Who you got at number 3? I had a couple of nominations, but who you got at number 3, man?
Yeah, I had a couple as well, but I'm sticking with this one for number 3, and that's Damien Dark looking like a bum-ass version of Thor. He looks so dumb. And I like Damien Dark. And honestly, he was alright in this episode, but I could not take him seriously, just like everything else in this episode. I'm gonna just spoil this now. All my bum asses have to do with Legends of Tomorrow. I'm just spoiling it. But Damien Dark is number 3 on the list.
That's a good one, man. That's a good one. Your man looked like he just put a pot of spaghetti on his head, man. I was like, your man put some linguine on his head, man. He was like, spaghetti. He just put it on his head. Like, yo, Damien Dark, what are you doing, man?
My man has
What is you doing?
He opened up 2 packets of ramen and just like stapled them to his
I was like, yo, Damien Dark is just too much of a man. I can't take Legends seriously when you got bullshit like that going on, man. But my number 3, man, like I said, I had a couple nominations. Ralph Dibny almost made it this week just for trying to holler at That Black like mad late with Netflix and chill joke. Like, that joke was so like, that joke is like so last year, man. But my number 3 is William's dance moves at Oliver Queen's wedding.
Oh my goodness.
Post-wedding ceremony. My man was out here like, he didn't know what his body was doing. He was like, I was like, yo, what is this kid doing, man?
My man looked like one of those training dummies they have at the Arrow headquarters.
Son, my man looked like he was trapped in an invisible box. And he was trying to get his way out. He's like, yo, is it here? 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 Is it there? Like, I was like, what is this guy doing right now?
Yeah.
Bro. I was like, you could have just hit him with the two-step.
I peeped.
You could have just hit him with the two-step. Just look at him.
I mean, he should have paid a little more attention to Wild Dog.
That's all you
Wild
gotta
Dog was
do.
trying to hit him with a two-step.
Dance move. I was like, either William has the worst dance moves ever, or we're all in 2017 and he's in 3017. Because I was like, that must be the dance moves of the future or something. Because that was crazy, man. My number 3.
We'll have to see Monel and Saturn Girl when they dance to see if they got the same moves.
Saturn Girl deserves an honorable mention for being mad nasty with the way she was eating those ribs. I was like, damn, girl, you mad pretty, but you got mad barbecue sauce on your face. I was like, you gotta be a little civil, girl.
I don't know. I wanted. Sure. I'll leave it at
that. Don't get me wrong. If she was my wife, I would lick all that barbecue sauce off her face. Problem. I'm right, Saturn Girl. You know what I'm saying? But who is your number 2 this week, DeepBoyce?
My number 2 is Leif Erikson and the rest of these bum-ass Vikings. Oh my
I almost
goodness.
put them on my list, but I was like, I'm wagering the bet that DeepBoyce is going to put the whole Viking squad on his bum-ass list. And you didn't disappoint me.
Yo,
You didn't disappoint me, man.
How do you mess up Vikings? How do you mess up Vikings?
It's Legends of Tomorrow, man, just getting too wackadoo with their time travel shenaniganery, man. Like, it's making the show, it's like a bad comedy. Like, some people are like, oh, it's finding it's hitting its stride. I don't really think so. I feel like Legends is sort of like, there are a couple weeks where I'm like, oh yeah, that was sort of funny. But then it just sometimes goes too over the top with this like shenaniganery. And I'm sure we're gonna get into that for both of our number ones, because we didn't discuss our number 1 bum asses, but I know what it's gonna be, because that's my number 1 as well. But before we get into that, DeepBoyce, my number 2 actually this week is Renee, aka Wild Dog. Okay.
Oh damn! I was thinking about him too, but
DeepBoyce. Okay. Let me ask you a question.
The thing.
Let me ask.
Will have you cracking up is like, he's like, yo, Hoss, I'm the snitch. That's right.
I'm like, bro, y'all all. I was like, yo, Wilder, you ever seen High School Musical, man? You're all in this together. Like, you can't be out here making side deals to see your daughter again. Meanwhile, last season you was very ready to never see her again, man. Mm-hmm. Everybody is in this together. You couldn't even have the decency to be like, yo, she hit me up. She says she got undeniable evidence that you are the Green Arrow. And she says that if I don't testify, I'm never going to see my daughter again. Didn't do that. He was like, deal. Like, I'm like, he's a bum for that, man. I was like, he is a bum for that. He went straight on the list for him, on the list, just for that. But it wasn't enough for him to surpass to hit that number 1 spot, DeepBoyce.
No,
because it is our shared number 1, DeepBoyce. I know it's your number 1.
It's by a far margin.
It's the only thing that could be your bum ass, and that is that whack ass, imitation ass, big ass blue Furby of Bebo. Get Bebo out of here, bro. That was trash. That was garbage, bro. I was like, yo, I was watching this. I was like, yo, I feel like I'm watching PBS right now. Bebo, hug you. Bebo. Oh, Bebo sucks so much. Bebo, bum-ass. Bebo number 1 on the weekly one shot. Get out of here. Get all of that out of here, man. Throw it in the garbage.
It was some trash.
Terrible.
It was some garbage. Like you said, garbage. It was basura. It was
garbage.
I mean, come on. How do you mess up Vikings? What are you doing? Vikings!
Especially when you got dope choreographers like the people that work in the Arrowverse. Like, you could have had some dope fight scenes with that, man. Why this Bebo thing?
The whole thing is...
Why? I just poked myself in the eye. Look at that. I'm getting crazy. I'm trying to blind myself for watching the Arrowverse episode, man.
God.
It was... What? I mean...
That was bad.
The thing about it is, it just wasn't funny to have these Vikings worship it as a blue god, like the Adam being in there in the Bebo thing, making making a funny. and trying to pretend like he's this god. I was just like, this is honestly some of the stupidest stuff I've ever seen. This is not even funny. I was like, this is like hitting rock bottom. This is like hitting rock bottom. And this is not a good sign for Legends, because let me tell you this right now, guys. You didn't know. This was the mid-season finale for Legends, right? Legends is not coming back immediately with the other Arrowverse shows. Black Lightning is taking Legends' time slot. So when Black Lightning, Black Lightning, Supergirl, Arrow, and Flash return on the week of January 15th. So Black Lightning is going to be on January 16th, that Tuesday. Like, Legends of Tomorrow is not coming back at that point. Legends of Tomorrow hasn't even been announced for when it's coming back. It is coming back, but it hasn't even been announced. And this is how you want to end? We don't know when the show's coming back, and this is the way you want to end, man. That's the way you want your mid-season finale to be? Yeah. A whack-ass imitation Furby? Bebo, be there! I was like, I can't, man. Be there! I was so tight with that, man. People in chat just agreeing with us emphatically right now. I feel like we're the only people talking about Legends tomorrow.
Yeah.
And who else is talking about Legends of Tomorrow after this?
And then not even the CW. The CW is barely talking about Legends of Tomorrow.
Let's segue into the one's got to go, DeepBoyce, because we're already talking about the one that's got to go for both of us this week. Because I would be shocked if this wasn't.
Then I may have to shock you.
DeepBoyce, don't disappoint me.
I may have to shock you.
My one's got to go this week is Legends tomorrow, just because of everything I just said. Case closed. Goodbye. Closing the door. See you next year. Literally.
I may have to shock you on this one, Hazy.
What's your one's that's got to go this week, man? Tell me. Talk to me. Shock me.
It's not Legends of Tomorrow on a bit of a technicality. I'll explain myself why.
Like one's got to technicality where one of your top 5 picks was All of the Love. So I forgot about that, right? Man, it's like, number 4 on my list this week is All of the Love in the episode. I was like, you over here acting like Bebo now, man. All of the love. Get that out of here, man.
Listen, I was just hyped for Earth X crossover. But my one's got to go is actually going to be Supergirl.
Okay.
Because it was very boring this week. And
it was neither here nor there.
I often don't say this. Like, usually that's my response to Supergirl. It's neither here nor there. But this week, I was like, wow, this is just boring. Like, there's nothing for me to latch onto. It was saved by Supergirl getting her ass beat. That was the only thing that even should have been on TV. Like, they should have just had it 15 minutes, Supergirl getting her ass beat, the show's over. Because the rest of it was like, come on.
It's funny because Supergirl getting her ass beat by Rain is sort of like a metaphor for how we feel about the show Supergirl when it does all this whackness like 24/7. Like, we just want to beat the show down and just like let it rise from the ashes like a phoenix, a better and stronger show. Yeah. I don't blame you for that as your one's got to go, man, because James Olsen and Lena Luthor subplot was a little bit lackluster. I mean, we all saw that coming. So
and back to Legends, like, that was a bad episode, yes. But
that was unequivocally bad.
That was bad, but they ended it well, in my opinion. With Stein and Jax talking. I mean, Jax leaving, you're right, it wasn't a good send-off. But I kind of liked how they just kind of threw Constantine out of nowhere there. And I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
So maybe, they're doing something here. And we saw a little bit of Mallus. Like, it's a technicality because Supergirl, we said this from the beginning, it's an episode and then another episode, and it doesn't seem like anything's tied to anything. I don't understand what the season is about. And this is week 9. Like, the break, we're on break now. And I still don't know what the show's about. Supergirl
always feels like it's dragging its feet. Yeah.
It's like,
no, I can't disagree with that.
Like,
I can't disagree with that.
Because one of my mantras is either you make me feel something good or you make me feel something bad, but the worst thing is you make me feel nothing. And Supergirl was just like, this has to be over.
I feel like DeepBoyce is trying to break up with me with that line, man. You hear that, y'all? DeepBoyce is breaking up with me.
No, but I'm
the best thing that ever happened to you, DeepBoyce.
I was. Nah, this right here. This is forever, Hazy. This is not ending.
It better be. You don't want to see Psycho Hazy. Wake up with your arm glued to your thigh.
But no, with Legends, it was just at least I was paying attention, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. But I was like, "What are they doing?" And it was ridiculous. But with Supergirl, yeah. This episode was probably the hardest I've had of any of the shows paying attention. Like I just was not interested.
And let's be fair to Supergirl, it has potentially cool elements. Mm-hmm. It has the whole Legions of Superhero, storyline. Like they sort of explain, where the Legions of Superhero comes from. They explain that it's inspired by Supergirl, even though that's technically, once again, another thing that Supergirl has stolen from Clark Kent in terms of how they're portraying this version of Kara. Mm-hmm. Like, I just feel like Kara is such a dope character, and I feel like they just make her a Clark Kent clone on this show. Yeah. But the Legion of Superheroes is definitely inspired by Superman. If I had to guess, you know what I'm saying? If I had to say something based on what I know about the Legion of Superheroes, it's definitely inspired by Superman, not Supergirl. But I'm okay with that change for the purpose of the show. It's just that it's just yet another carbon clone copy thing that they're doing with Kara and Clark Kent. But they have some cool elements there. They have Rain, which could have been cool, and still could be salvaged maybe. And that beatdown was something that Rain needed to do, because often these Arrowverse shows do not let the villains put in work the way they need to put in work. Yeah. Sort of like I'll never forget that time Zoom beat Flash's ass and just dragged him around the city. Like, that was one of the dopest sequences I ever seen on like a superhero property. Yeah. Like, he beat his ass. He was dragging him. Like, when he was dragging him, he looked like when I used to see black dudes in my neighborhood and the do-rag would be hanging out their pocket. Like, Flash was like a do-rag hanging out of the pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, damn, he beat his ass. And I think Rain doing that was good. It's just that they need to do something to sort of make us care about what Rain has planned. Because right now, like, Sam and Rain, like, Sam is just a victim of what her Kryptonian creators or whatever, have made her out to be. And I would like to see some accountability for Sam. And they have to reconcile those two personalities. They do. But it's going to be interesting to see how they do that. Yeah. But what's your one that's got to stay, DeepBoyce? Episode of the week.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that. Because
for me, it's going to be the Flash. I'll say it's the Flash. Just because I liked what the Thinker was doing. I liked that he was playing games. And I liked that he came away with the W. Simply put. True. Some people were saying Flash could have, cleaned it up and ran away. But you have to understand, like, Flash, there's two things that happened, right? First, Flash was sort of figuring things out. And when he was sort of like putting two and two together, he was like, holy crap. Then the door started opening. Now, time slowed down. He clearly could have used his super speed to run at least. But he said to himself, stop running. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I think that might have been the best call. Because what is he going to do? Run away with with DaVoe's body? And what happens then? His wife will file a missing persons report. Then Barry Allen will be a prime suspect. The same thing would essentially happen. You know what I mean? More or less. Yeah. It looks even worse if the body's gone. You know what I mean? Like,
and he's kind of playing into DeVoe's plans.
Right. Exactly. And not only that, he's doing something that Barry hasn't done in the past, which is trust the people around him to help him get through this. And I think that's where we're going with this. He's trusting Team Arrow to step up and get him out of this. I mean, in that moment, you could tell Barry understood the seriousness of what was going on. He's going down for murder. That's really bad. You know what I'm saying? His prints are on a knife. That whole setup, it looks really bad. But I think it was an interesting choice for Barry to make that decision. Was it the right decision? Personally, I probably would have still sped out of there with the body. But God forbid some type of high-speed camera catches the Flash speeding around with the dead body. And, it could have just made the situation worse.
True.
So good way to go into the mid-season finale. I'm looking forward to what they do come next month, January. And, that's my one that's got to stay. What about you, man?
Yeah, honestly, you convinced me on that one. I'm going to have to go with the Flash as well. Arrow wasn't bad, but I don't think it ended as strongly as Flash did. And we already went over detail when it comes to Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow. Those aren't even in the conversation. I'm kind of glad that we get something fresh with Black Lightning once this break is over, because I'd like to see something a little different.
I agree. We need some superhero TV needs a little bit of life infused into it. That's a potential video topic that we've talked about. So, but yeah, I mean, another thing I wanted to say is that, you know, coming off of the Crisis on Earth X crossover, you know, I kind of spoke to you about this off stream, but I kind of wanted to put it out there for the people watching this video and watching the live stream. I just feel like coming off of Earth X, this was sort of a dip down for all of these shows. Supergirl ended in a way where it was probably enough to keep the fans who were already there, but not enough to attract new people. And with the amount of buzz that Crisis on Earth X had, like Crisis on Earth X had a lot of buzz after that. And these episodes needed to come back strong. They needed to come back strong, especially since they only had one episode until that you know, that winter break or that fall break, that mid-season finale. And I feel like the crossover, now some people might be saying, oh, the crossover should have been the mid-season finale. But that's not necessarily the right choice either, because I think what you have to remember is that each of these shows has their individual storylines. So the mid-season finale should leave you off in a way that, you know, ramps up said, you know, main storyline, but at the same time, sort of leaves it on like sort of a cliffhanger for you to come back next time. You know what I mean? I think the intention with the crossover was to attract people and then bring people in for this week of episodes. The problem was, largely, these week of episodes sort of disappointed. Like, think about Legends. That was really a dip in quality from the crossover to that episode. Really, it was bad. Arrow was okay, but it was sort of like, you know, I feel like Arrow was good, don't get me wrong, and maybe I'm judging it against itself a little bit. Maybe you told me. But I feel like, once again, didn't really come off the crossover, you know, throwing punches. Yes, you know, the full gamut of, you know, anti-Team Arrow was revealed, but, you know, what is the impact of the reveal? Like, the only thing they've done is shatter Team Arrow, but, you know, do we even believe that this is the end of Team Arrow? No. So it didn't have that it didn't have that, like, weight to it. Like, the whole Barry Allen murder thing, that's crazy, because it's like, wow, like, how is he going to get out of this one? You know, because it seems like a huge issue to overcome. You know, this is more of a matter of Team Arrow just trusting themselves again, which I know we all feel they could do. Yeah. So part of me feels like the crossover should have been earlier in the season, so as to bring people in early, get them hooked on the shows, and then hit them when they come up to these mid-season finales, have them, you know, sort of be like, man, I can't wait till the show comes back. I feel like the crossover should have been maybe episode 5, 6, possibly, in each respective season, you know? But that's just me. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's 50-50 their fault and just kind of the circumstances. I mean, obviously, to kind of get all this done is probably a nightmare, and you have to keep in mind you have to juggle between the network and the creative teams behind them. Sure. So, you know, maybe the scheduling isn't entirely in their control. I do agree that this is a different quality for all the shows, and I mean, the break is a rather lengthy period of time. It's
a month.
It's a month.
It's a month. That's enough to fall off of the show.
Yeah, and honestly, when these shows come back, how are you going to build the pipe? Like, what is it you're going to be advertising? Is it the next episode? I mean, what the heck is the next episode of Supergirl going to be? I mean, Legends is not going to come back. What's going to be the next episode? I mean, I guess maybe you can kind of pull off something for Arrow to make it seem exciting. But like you said, really, Flash was the one that ended strong because the next episode, all you have to do is say, oh, Barry Allen's in jail. The Flash is in jail. How's he getting out? What the heck's going on?
Right. Because that seemed like one of those situations where, like, damn, that's sort of an impossible situation.
Yeah. Because
you know what I mean?
He's not gonna be able to use his powers to get out of this one.
You know, that's a good point. That's a good point.
So they have to. It's gonna be interesting and it's gonna be creative in terms of how they resolve all of this. And the villain is still at large, and he's just getting started. So we'll see.
I want to respond to two comments from Giovanni in the chat right now. So he said, you know, 4 seasons into the Flash, and he feels like the Flash still needs help. And what to that I want to say, these shows and many adaptations, including movies of you know, these characters, it's very much unlike the comic books. Generally speaking, where the hero is front and center and doing everything on their own, because the comics are meant to showcase all the abilities of the heroes, whereas TV shows and movies and, you know, dramas and things to show interpersonal relationships through their characters. So it's important for team members to have a role in what these characters do and how they essentially, enact their heroics. So don't get me wrong. I've had my problems with Barry Allen over the course of 4 seasons. He's made a lot of mistakes. I've seen some people even argue that he's sort of a villain of the Arrowverse, which is funny because he's done some really stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But I think in this scenario, it's the right move because the ongoing theme since the beginning of the season is, and even sort of at the end of last season where we saw Future Flash sort of not have his team around him, we saw what happened to him. The element, the ongoing theme and the element that stands out the most in the Flash is how to get this team to function like a team. We need someone who's calling the shots. We need someone who's confident in themselves. Look at Caitlin. Like, she's had an issue with confidence. We need somebody who can can focus on being a hero instead of just being a jackass. Ralph Dibny, building towards a functional team. The second thing I wanted to say regarding Giovanni is that he says the reason he doesn't like the crossovers is because he doesn't feel like they set up anything and they don't have any repercussions from it. Only Legends had repercussions from it. Now, I can't hate. I feel like that's more of a personal preference for me. These crossovers are exciting. Like, these are comic book events that play out in live action. And you also have to remember that there's a bigger thing at play here. There's a bigger motivation for this. And that's that these crossovers essentially serve as a large advertisement for these shows. Crisis on Earth X got so much play.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, I was going to pose a question. Do you think they should have these crossovers after the break? I think it's a longer period of time, the second half of these seasons.
I'll tell you why I don't think so. Because the purpose of the crossovers and doing it earlier in the season is once again to get people onto these shows. Like I said, I believe they did the crossover a little late this year. I feel like it should have been earlier. To me, it should have been week 5, maybe week 4, maybe week 6, at the latest. So having it in the second half, people would have to catch up to these shows in order to catch this. Now, I'm not, people might be saying, they would have to catch up to episodes 2 if they wanted to watch this crossover. Yeah, sure, but it's less episodes to catch up. If you do it in the second half of the season, what's the motive? What's the impetus for getting someone onto this show nice and early? You know what I mean? So I feel like having it earlier in the season sort of makes sense. I just feel like it should be a little bit earlier. It shouldn't kick off the season by any means, but I do feel like it should be a little bit earlier personally. That's just me. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, what you said totally makes sense. I don't know, for some reason I think maybe it's possible. Yeah, I don't know. There's no way to really get around that because I guess, I'm not a TV exec. I don't own a network. I don't know what's going on. I don't know the numbers and the things that they consider. They keep it, they keep into consideration when giving the green light to these crossovers and the benefits that, the shows get. Obviously, it got a lot of play. It was very well done. Overwhelmingly, people enjoyed it. And just having an event, that's something that just, people like being surrounded or being part of hype or something that's hype. You know what I'm saying? So definitely it works as something to kind of get people into the show. I just wonder from a narrative standpoint, maybe it would make more sense. Maybe it would make more sense to wait. But obviously that's something that we have to kind of sacrifice.
Yeah.
To even have these things be possible. And sometimes we do have to sacrifice a little bit of quality because these studios, they gotta pay the bills. They gotta be able to turn the lights on and pay a lot of people that work for them. But I think it's possible, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be a problem if they did it. Just what would replace? How would they be able to get that buzz early on? Maybe a smaller type of crossover between 2 shows as opposed to all of them. You know what I mean? It could be a cross.
I think
Flash and Arrow, because those are the biggest shows. They have a quick little crossover.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart idea. I think that they should start having those little mini crossovers, sort of like what you see in Marvel movies now, where they're peppering other characters into their movies, like how, you know, Iron Man was in Spider-Man Homecoming and Hulk was in Thor Ragnarok. Like, I think the notion of having these characters cross over would be cool. We also have to remember, like, it's a logistical nightmare. And, you know, Stephen Amell was actually quoted as saying that it's tough to get everyone's crossovers, you know. So, and I think as these seasons ramp up into the second half, I think, you know, it's a little more difficult to get that going. Maybe at the beginning of the season is a lot easier. I don't know.
And I mean, I was thinking something else, but I think another problem is the format. This being on the CW as opposed to like a streaming service or any other channel. Because what if, I mean, what's stopping them from doing like something like a month long, not a month long, but, you know, like 3 weeks or so of like an additional, actually they're not gonna be able to do it because they have other shows. I forget that there are other shows on the CW, but
right.
I don't know, imagine they had like some like crossover that involved like Sarah Lance and Firestorm and some other character, and it's not Legends
like
of Tomorrow.
A mini series.
Yeah, like a little mini series in 1 month, and it doesn't derail the stories of the other shows. But that's, like I said, they got other shows that they got to put on there, so they're not gonna be able to do that. But maybe with the streaming service.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe with the DC streaming service. I mean, oh man, I kind of want to talk about Titans, but, you know, I don't want to derail the conversation. I feel like that could be another video for another day. But, you know, I feel with Titans, you know, they have the opportunity there to showcase something different that takes place on a separate Earth, but that doesn't necessarily preclude them from doing some type of crossovers. You know what I mean? Like, it's perfectly believable that, you know, they're different. Maybe there's, like, let's say Roy Harper is in Titans. It's perfectly reasonable to believe that, you know, there's just a different version of Roy Harper out there on another Earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in terms of, like, you kind of alluded to shorter episodes. I mean, I know you don't mean shorter episodes on the network, on the CW network TV. But, you know, I've seen that question pop up multiple times on our videos, which is why don't they do shorter seasons? And for me, and this is just a guess, you know, I'm not somebody who's super, you know, familiar with these production things, but think about it this way. Like, these shows have production budgets, they have staff, they have, you know, people that work on these shows. If you were doing 13 episode seasons, that would mean that you have to come up with like twice the amount of ideas for not just, you know, the shows that you have going, but for these new shows that would need to take the slots after these 13 episode shows, you know, end their seasons. And then likely because of, you know, the way talent works, you know, like, you're going to have to hire new talent. You're going to have a whole set of new staff. It would make a budget sort of a nightmare, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? You'd have to have, you know, I don't know, a new set of directors, a new set of writers, you know, like, maybe, I mean, you might be saying, well, why can't the same writers work on it? Well, it's like, well, maybe the Flash writers don't want to work on the show, you know, that's set in, I don't know, the Middle Ages or something like that. You know, like, I think it takes a lot of work to put these shows out as is, and to come up with new ideas and keep generating new ideas, you know, with 13 episode seasons and switching over to a new show after a season of another show is over. It would make things very complicated. And I think it would just be, you know, it would be I've used this phrase already, but a logistical nightmare for these networks. That's why a streaming service sort of caters to that a little bit more. But DeepBoyce, man, any final words? I mean, this is going to be our last Arrowverse Weekly One Shot for a month. We're not going to be coming back until the middle of January, guys. So the Arrowverse shows will not come back until the week of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The January 15th, I believe, Supergirl will be coming back. Then we'll also have the premiere of Black Lightning. We also have Flash returning and Arrow. Legends, we don't know when they're going to be returning at the time of this recording, but, you know, it's going to be a while until we come back. But that doesn't mean we won't be talking about Arrowverse stuff in the interim. So, I mean, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you're in the live stream right now, please drop us a like. Every like counts on these videos. If you can't watch this video in your personal time, leave it on, let it play in the background. All of that stuff helps. But DeepBoyce, man, any final words before we officially sign off?
Listen, we got a lot in store for you guys. We're going to be doing a little bit of feng shui here at the Hall Spoilers. But like Hazy said, we'll be back in January in terms of doing the weekly one shot for the Arrowverse. But we don't have enough time for a lot of the things that we just want to do in this month of December. And of course, we want to just make this explode as much as we possibly can. And we're trying whatever we can behind the scenes. But, you know, if you guys enjoy what we do, if you guys like chilling with us or just watching our videos, like Hazy said, spread the word. Tell a friend.
Yeah.
You know, hit us up. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe. Like. Let the videos play. Put them on mute if you already listen to them. Anything you can do to help out the league.
Yeah. And, you know, if you're not following us on Twitter, at Hall of Spoilers, I'd love to give, like, updates on some of the things we're doing on Twitter. You know, I just feel like the bulk of people that watch us don't look at our Twitter, but Twitter is a good way for us to keep in touch with you guys. If a live stream is delayed or if, you know, something comes up, a lot of times, you know, me and Boyce, you know, it's hard. I mean, right now, like I said, I'm in California. Like, the time zone is completely different right now. Like, and Boyce is like, literally, it's midnight where Boyce is at. For me, you know, the night's sort of just begun. Mm-hmm. So, you know, sometimes there are things that, you know, get in the way, and we always want to keep it real with you guys, man. That's one thing we want to do, man. We want to keep it real with the leaguers, man, because you guys are every bit as much a part of this as we are, man.
Yeah, and like Mr. BP said, it's time for the Hall of Spoilers to transition to Star Wars. You have no idea. You have no idea, Mr. BP. And Jason Sotelo, we got you. Right, Hazy?
We got you, man. We got to listen, man. We got some William. We got some William Queen dance moves. You know what I'm saying? You got to wash the windows of the car. You know what I'm saying? Wax on, wax off, all that stuff, man. We're going to take William to dance school during the mid-season break. That's what we're going to do. We're going to find the actor that portrays William, and we're going to teach him how to Dougie. We're going to show him how to dab. We're doing all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But without further ado, guys, like I said, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done it. Turn on notifications. Hit that little bell icon so you can be up to date with the latest and greatest coming from the Spectacular Spoiler League. Drop us a like. We greatly appreciate that. Help us get this video out there. Help us let the league grow. We need more leaguers to help us teach William how to do dance moves and to throw every single B-Ball doll that's ever existed in the garbage. Incinerate it. Just destroy it. I'm getting a text message, which means I need to get out of here, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace out.